more pressure being a female filmmaker? Is it a lot more pressure on you? Do you feel like you don't get away? I mean, let's just look at leadership in our country, okay? I'm gonna take a shot. But like with men, I seem like they get away with a lot more, you know, and I think with women, I mean, I think we're a little bit more in a magnifying glass, you know what I mean? Like we have to like kind of play with the big boys. It's like a man's world. I don't believe it is. Yeah. But do you feel more pressure being a female filmmaker?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think our time is now, so things are changing big time. In the last, I'd say, year, a lot of opportunities are opening up for women of color, particularly, from my point of view, and for women generally. But historically, it's been impossible. You know, you work, and you get no recognition, no visibility. It's impossible to be seen, just because the culture says that the attention goes to men. It's that simple. And so, like, I've been working in the industry for 35 years, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It's always a struggle.
Have you seen much, like, a lot of changes in the 35 years? You said the last year.
I'd say the last year.
So 34 bad years or tough years?
No, tough. I think it's just the assumption that, like, what I've achieved in spite of the obstacles. You know, there's an assumption, nothing has been given. So there's an assumption that if you're a woman of color, well, you don't look like a director. What does a director look like? You know, it's stuff like that. And then if there's a job, then, you know, it's not quite right for you, you know. And the prejudices, or, you know, even if you get a gig and you're on a set, you know, I've been on sets where the men, inevitably men, who run the set have refused to do what I say simply because they will not take direction from a woman of color.
I think we've seen in our country that our country is even more sexist than racist.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I mean, I was right.
Yeah, and look how they treat women in Congress. Black women in Congress in this country.
Yeah,
go home.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Now, Melina, you're not a woman of color, but you've chosen to do a film, direct a film with a black cast. How do you feel when you hear? How do you feel being a part of this?
Being a part of this whole festival, I feel so honored that they took the film. I mean, knowing that I'm a white woman, but the film isn't about me. The film is a documentary about a whole subculture of men, Black and Latino. But the two main leads, they're African American males, and they honestly, they love this festival. They were the ones that told me, hey, we should submit to this festival. And the movie theater where it takes place, the festival is the closest movie theater to them. That's where they go see movies. So it's such an honor.
I just want to say, in a time like we're in right now, where it's just like we're so divided, and I mean, it's people, we've gone backwards, I think, or maybe we never really made the progress we thought. I want to thank you for taking part in even being interested in a story that isn't about white folks, that is actually about Black and Latino, because you probably don't have to do that. And you did. And, you know, we need allies in this fight that we have. You know, we're all women, and I appreciate you doing that, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, you went from being an actress to a director, and is it less stressful because now you're not at, well, I guess it's different because you're responsible for a lot more things, but now you don't have to wait to get chosen, right? To be in someone else's project.
So I initially just thought the story that my grandmother told me about her childhood was interesting and funny, but then I thought, what an opportunity to cast myself in something that I wouldn't otherwise be cast in, and also to give my daughter an opportunity to act. And so, in a way, it was easy because I'm in control. And but in another way, it was a lot of pressure because everything fell on me. You know, if anybody had questions, I had to have answers. So, but it was a very huge learning experience for me. I have a new respect for people who do this on a regular.
So we have the struggles of being a woman in the industry, a Black woman, and then you look like you're about 21 years old on top of that.
Well, thank you.
But I'm saying, is it difficult to be taken seriously as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've had men specifically. It's always a man, unfortunately, who either tries to take advantage or tries to manipulate me or dangle money, you know, and I just have to, you know, stay strong.
Now, when you say dangle money, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like funding a film,
okay.
and, you know,
I'll do this if you do that.
Right,
okay.
right. Or lead with that, and then later say, yeah, you know, let's go to dinner. And,
got it.
You know, it turns into something else.
Tell him cash out me first, and then we'll go eat later on. Just take his money. All right, now over hundreds of films are showcased every year at the Pan African Film Festival. How nerve-wracking was the process for you to submit your projects? Like when you're waiting to find out, was it nerve-wracking?
I was nervous because this is my directorial debut,
okay.
and so I didn't really expect, but at the same time, you want it so bad that you're like checking every day, like, is it time yet? So it was a little nervous, but in a good way for me.
And then when you found out?
I was so excited because I really didn't think, you know, my first time, I just thought this is a way to learn, and if I get selected, then great. If not, no big deal. So to be selected was like huge.
Okay.
I danced with my daughter for a while.
That's so cute. How did you feel, especially to know that you're opening the festival?
Well, I have a relationship with the festival.
Mm-hmm.
My last film was at the festival, and I came here, that was about 10 years ago. That's how long it takes a woman to make a film in the world. But, so I know the people, and I talked to them. And yeah, it was fantastic that Babu, who runs the festival, actually called me and told me that he loved the film. And I consider him somebody who knows a lot about global cinema from an African and from a Black perspective. And so I really was touched that he said, this is incredible. This is an incredible movie, and I really want to do something super special with it. So yeah, it was special.
Well, speaking of special, we have a special sneak peek. We have a clip of your film, so let's take a look.
Independence came to over a dozen states peaceably, but in the Belgian Congo, freedom was followed by rioting and army mutiny, a reign of terror and disorder.
Well, Mr. Bumbutu, things seem to be a bit unstable.
This is my country, the Republic of Congo.
Go well, Mr. Cross, and do big things.
All right. Looks good.
It is good.
Okay. Why is it in 2020, and this is for all of you, that we still have this issue about, you know, women trying to break the glass ceiling? I mean, it's 2020. Like, come on. We're still having this conversation. It's still an issue where we're not taken seriously and not respected the same. And a lot of times we don't trust each other. Like, we should be supporting the hell out of each other. We're the majority, ladies. We are. The majority.
It's true.
Why do you feel that way?
Because the whole system was set up by men originally, so we have to fight it down. I mean, we have a lot of work to do to change the way everybody thinks about everything. It's systemic.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't that long ago that women didn't have the vote.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Black people didn't have the vote. This is a new concept for the West, and I think we're still working out what that means. Even, you know, it's not even, well, it's just over 100 years ago, you know. But we were property as women, as Black people. We belonged to other people. Our lives were not our own. We didn't have agency. We didn't have the power to make decisions. And so that, as you say, the whole system was set up to facilitate that we were like produce or animals. Working, you know, like dismantling that system, as you say, takes a long time.
Being a white woman, do you see, I mean, there's an argument to be made that you have some privilege of, you know, over the two ladies here, the three ladies here. Do you witness it? Do you see it?
I mean, yes, definitely, and especially with making the film. I grew up in San Francisco, which isn't super diverse. I had a few Black friends growing up, but making this movie really opened like a whole world to me. I spent time with all these people I wouldn't have otherwise spent time with, and I witnessed that, I mean, not only, you know, Black women, but also Black men, that I'm privileged. I am privileged. And I'm so grateful to have had that experience. And I mean, it took me 9 years to make this film. So it wasn't something that I did overnight. I spent a lot of time with them. I really got to know them, got to know their families. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that.
I'm sure we appreciate you acknowledging that you're privileged. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't. So let's. Do we have another clip? All right, let's take a look at your film, and let's take a look.
The average Birmingham roller can do 4 to 5 revolutions in a split second, but the thing is, just have them do it together.
How many?
20! Time.
Okay, so 197.34 score.
We chosen the pigeons over girlfriends and wives.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I've dated people and I let them know this is the deal. The birds were here before you, and the birds will be here after you're gone.
Wow, that looks interesting. So Pigeon Kings, you made a film about Black and Latino men in the Los Angeles area, and they train these pigeons to do all kind of tricks and...
They train the pigeons to do somersaults in unison. So they let out...
Synchronized somersaults by pigeons?
Yes.
And I can't even do one by myself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there's even a World Cup for this.
World Cup.
There's a Birmingham Roller Pigeon World Cup where the judge actually travels around the world from backyard to backyard, because they fly from their own backyards, and he judges these birds and they see how many birds, 5 or more, need to do somersaults in unison in order to get points. And they fly 20 birds at once. If all 20 go at once, it's like 100 points. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Right. Now, Chloe, you directed the short film Jax about an 8-year-old who finds the courage to face a neighborhood bully. Let's watch a clip from your film.
Sonia, you are going to march your little narrative over there and get those Jacks back.
But she won't give them back. It's just like last time.
You listen to me good. You have got to learn to defend yourself. Because if not, you'll go your whole life letting folk run all over you.
But she's mean. Her mom is mean. I've never seen you stand up to her.
Never mind that. This ain't about me, it's about you. Besides, I want you to be better than me, stronger than me. Now go get them Jacks back.
So your film is about bullying.
It is.
What was the inspiration for that? Were you bullied?
Actually, my grandmother told me this story, and she's 73 years old, and so that happened to her when she was 8. And when she told me, I just thought about how relatable it still is today, and how that lesson is so important to teach our children to be able to stand up for themselves and speak up for themselves.
I love it. 3 beautiful pieces of work. You want to be applauded for that. Okay, what do you all want your viewers to take away from your films? Start with you, Chloe.
I say just to have courage and never be afraid to speak up for yourself. That's the main thing. And specifically for children, I just have a sweet spot for little kids.
Was that your daughter in the clip?
That's my daughter.
Very beautiful.
So I think it's important to teach them not to be fearful, but to act in courage always.
Well, my film, I'm not sure if I said, but it's about a man called Ulrich Cross, who was like an uncle to me. I knew him growing up, but I didn't know anything about his life. He was the most decorated West Indian in the Second World War. Came from Trinidad like me. And then after the war, he was recruited by another West Indian called George Padmore to go to Ghana to work with Kwame Nkrumah as a lawyer right after independence. And it was about a moment in time, which is 1957, early 60s, when the world changed. the African countries began to be independent, the Caribbean countries, and it moved from being a colonial dispensation where Britain ruled, or European colonialism defined everything, to we as Black people were free, and we had to define that. And you know, it was an incredible moment in time that was created by heroes. So what I really want people to take away from that, young people today, everybody, because it's not really known, the role that you know, people from the African diaspora played to help liberate Africa. I want people to take away that we were heroes, that there were these incredible people who created a vision of a free Africa, of a United States of Africa. That's what they called it. Yeah.
I so appreciate you making films like this because, I mean, in America, they keep us quite ignorant if you don't go out and do your extra research.
Absolutely.
Because if you just go through public schools, by the time you graduate, all you know about Africa is that's where all the people that are hungry are, and that's where they got the slaves from.
Yeah, and it's
they
not
don't. That's the only right. We don't learn anything else in regular school except that. You think Africa is a terrible place where it's just poverty and flies, right? And it's not.
It's not. And not only that, but the images that it makes me sick. That the images that are fed to young people about Black people are either, you know, gang members, you know, that we are victims, that we are marginalized people, that we are slaves, when we're amazing. The cultures that we come from, all over the world, we are fighters, we are warriors, we are thinkers, philosophers, political strategists, amazing people. You know, we are, and that's really what I want.
And that's why we have to really support these independent films because it's harder, right?
Absolutely.
It's more of a struggle. You don't have that big studio money behind you pushing it, but they love to push the slave movies.
Absolutely.
We can't get enough of and the gangbang movies.
And the gangbang movies, you know, absolutely. That is absolutely right. When I was making this film, the powers that be, you know, when I was seeking funding, they said, that's not an interesting story. Nobody will be interested in that story. Can you make a film about, you know, set in the ghetto, about gangs with hip hop? Like literally that's what they tell you to do.
Wow.
Yeah.